This is a report from the World Economic Forum about future skills, and there are 3 skills that they say every 21st century manager needs to have. And I think they're really important. So let us go through each of them one by one, and then at the end, I am going to share with you some resources that can help you develop these skills. The first skill is complex problem solving. Now, what does this mean? So for example, back in the day, let's say your car breaks down and it doesn't start. You might just go and check the battery, and if the battery is dead, you change the battery and the car starts. And that is complex problem solving because you identified the issue, you fixed it, and the issue was resolved. But now if your car breaks down, there's many more things that could be wrong. It could be the battery, it could be the starter, or it could be an electrical fault, or a sensor problem, or something else entirely. And so rather than just swapping the battery, you need to diagnose what's happening, identify the issue, understand why it's happening, and then fix it. And this is an example of complex problem solving. And the World Economic Forum says that managers in the future will need to deal with very complex problems. They won't be able to use the same playbook that they used in the past. They're going to have to apply new solutions to old problems. They're going to have to use data to improve decision-making. And here's the thing, the kind of problems that managers are going to be facing in the future are going to be far more complex than the ones that we faced in the past. Because today, we live in an incredibly interconnected world where things are so complicated and so intricate. One person can no longer solve all the problems on their own. We need to bring in experts, specialists, people who have different perspectives. And this means that managers need to become facilitators. They need to draw out ideas, encourage people to think, ask questions, challenge assumptions, and come up with new creative solutions. The way we approach problem solving needs to evolve, because the problems that we face today, and even more so in the future, are far more complex than the ones we've dealt with in the past. So how do you become better at complex problem solving? Well, one of the best ways is to work on your mental models. Mental models are essentially your beliefs, your assumptions, and your patterns of thinking that influence the way you see the world. And if you want to learn more about how to challenge your mental models, I've got a course called Critical Thinking that takes you through exactly that, and I'll put a link to it in the description below. The second skill that every manager needs to have in the 21st century is creativity and innovation. Now, the reason for this is because we're living through a time of massive technological disruption. New technologies are emerging all the time, and businesses need to keep up with these changes or risk becoming irrelevant. Think about Kodak. They were the market leader in film and photography, but they failed to innovate, and they lost out to digital photography. Or think about Blockbuster. They had the opportunity to buy Netflix for $6 million, and they turned it down because they didn't see the threat that Netflix posed. These are examples of companies that failed to innovate and ultimately went out of business. But it's not just about keeping up with changes. It's also about driving change and being ahead of the curve. Businesses need to constantly innovate and find new ways to do things better, faster, cheaper, or they risk falling behind their competitors. Think about companies like Tesla, Apple, Google. These companies are constantly pushing the boundaries of what is possible, and they are always looking for ways to innovate and disrupt the status quo. And so managers in the 21st century need to be comfortable with change. They need to be able to lead their teams through times of uncertainty and help them navigate the complexities of a rapidly evolving world. Managers also need to be creative and innovative themselves. They need to be able to come up with new ideas and solutions and see things from a different perspective. In short, managers in the 21st century need to be able to lead their teams to navigate the complexities of a rapidly evolving world. But here's the thing, developing creativity and innovation isn't easy. It's a skill that needs to be developed and nurtured. But fortunately, there are some really great resources out there that can help you do that. One of my favorites is a book called The Creative Habit by Twyla Tharp. She's a world-renowned choreographer, and she talks about how she develops creativity and innovation in her work. Another great resource is a book called Creative Confidence by Tom Kelly and David Kelly from IDEO. It's a really practical guide on how to develop your creative thinking skills. The third skill that every manager needs to have in the 21st century is the ability to work with and through others. And what does this mean? So when I worked in corporate, I used to manage teams of up to 100 people, and I would often find myself needing to get work done through other people. This meant that I couldn't just do the work myself, but I needed to delegate tasks and responsibilities to other people and then trust them to get it done. And this required me to develop strong interpersonal skills, emotional intelligence, the ability to communicate effectively and build relationships with others, the ability to motivate and inspire people to perform at their best, and the ability to handle conflict in difficult situations. These are all essential skills for any manager in the 21st century. Here's the thing. In today's interconnected world, no one person has all the skills or knowledge to do everything on their own. We all need to learn to work with and through others to achieve our goals. This means being able to delegate tasks effectively, build high-performing teams, manage conflict in difficult situations, and most importantly, lead people to achieve a common vision. But the challenge is that this isn't easy. It requires a delicate balance of hard and soft skills, technical expertise, and creativity, logic, and intuition. But the good news is that these skills can be developed and nurtured with practice and persistence. There are some fantastic books that can help you on this journey. One of my personal favorites is The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen R. Covey. It's a classic for a reason, and it provides a really practical framework for developing the skills you need to be an effective leader. Another book I highly recommend is Emotional Intelligence 2.0 by Travis Bradberry and Gene Grieve. They talk about the importance of emotional intelligence and how it can help you become a better leader. In conclusion, the skills of complex problem solving, creativity, and innovation, and working with and through others are essential for any manager in the 21st century. By developing these skills, managers can lead their teams to navigate the complexities of a rapidly evolving world and drive innovation and change within their organizations. Remember, these skills are not easy to develop, but with practice and persistence, you can become a better manager and leader. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.